Hello to all my friends and family, and welcome to this episode of Jim's 5am Club. What I'd love to do on this beautiful day is to go on a walk and talk and chat to you about a very interesting book. The book that I've selected for today's episode is entitled Marry Him, The Case for Settling for Mr. Good Enough. This book was published on the 1st of February 2011 by an author who goes by the name of Gottlieb. There was a time I sat across from a friend at a sun-drenched cafe, swirling my coffee absent-mindedly as she asked a question that silenced the buzz of the world around me. Do you ever think maybe you're just being too picky? I laughed, deflected, changed the subject, but her words lingered long after the cups had been cleared and the table wiped clean. That question was an echo in my mind as I stumbled upon Marry Him, The Case for Settling for Mr. Good Enough by Gottlieb, a book that would challenge everything I thought I knew about love, expectations, and the ever-elusive perfect partner. Through Gottlieb's honest, vulnerable, and sharply witty lens, I was invited into a journey that didn't feel like reading. It felt like looking into a mirror. As a successful, independent woman who had carefully curated a life of ambition, adventure, and checklists, one finds themselves unraveling decades of romantic mythology, one chapter at a time. This book isn't about giving up, it's about waking up. It's about shifting the lens from fantasy to fulfillment, from perfection to partnership. If you've ever wondered whether your standards are guiding you or blinding you, then this is your invitation to ask some deeper questions, ones that may just change the way you approach love forever. So let's step through some of the key points in this book and see what we can learn, what we can glean, and what one can incorporate into their inventory of skills, knowledge, and wisdom. So the first key message from this book is where the author reminds the readers that the one might be a myth, but love is real. The author Gottlieb challenges the romanticized notion that there's a perfect soulmate out there. Instead, she paints a more grounded picture. Love isn't found, love is built. And when we stop chasing the one and start valuing a good one, everything shifts from that point on. The author mentions that chemistry is a spark, not a foundation. We often confuse butterflies with compatibility, but Gottlieb urges us to examine why we chase the intoxicating high of attraction and how doing so can actually lead one away from the very stability that they crave and endure. Another point to come from this book is where the author talks about the fact that time is a factor, and that's okay. There's power in acknowledging that dating in your 30s or your 40s isn't the same as dating in your 20s. This book encourages embracing the reality of time, not with fear, but with clarity and with agency. The author goes on to talk about the dreaded checklist and says that the checklist itself could be your biggest enemy, because we all have our lists: height, education, job title, sense of humour, and the list goes on and on. But when those boxes become non-negotiable, we may be filtering out truly great partners for the wrong reasons, and Gottlieb asks us to reconsider what really matters in a relationship. Kindness, reliability, and shared values will always outlast wit and wavy hair, because attraction fades, but character remains. And the men that we overlooked because they seemed too nice or not exciting enough are often the ones who would make the best husbands, and Gottlieb dares us to see them more clearly. Another key message from this book is where the author talks about the fact that settling isn't giving up. Settling is waking up. The word settling gets a bad rap, but Gottlieb reframes it as choosing wisely, not perfectly. It's about trading fantasy for fulfillment without sacrificing your important core needs. The author goes on to talk about emotional maturity. As we find, emotional maturity is rare and indeed very precious. Charm and charisma often overshadow emotional availability. And this book, Marry Him, reminds us that the ability to communicate, the ability to compromise, and the ability to commit is a real superpower in a lasting relationship. The author also offers a wake-up call by saying that you're not as open-minded as you think. Gottlieb's interviews and anecdotes reveal a hard truth. Many of us hold unconscious biases about who we should be with. becoming aware of these filters can open the door to love that you never saw coming. The author goes on to say that your future happiness might depend on a choice that you make now, that you make today. And this book doesn't shy away from consequences. Staying single isn't wrong, but it's a choice. And like any path, it has its trade-offs. Gottlieb asks us to look at the long view, not just the next date. And love isn't what you get, it's what you build. In the end, Marry Him is an ode to intentionality. Real love isn't magic, it's the product of patience, effort, self-awareness, and the courage to rewrite the fairy tale with both feet on the ground. Reading Marry Him felt like having a heart-to-heart with a wise, slightly older friend who wasn't afraid to call one out whilst holding their hand. It's not about lowering standards, it's about raising one's understanding of what truly brings joy, connection, and a lasting partnership. Take care, everybody. Wishing you all the best, and bye for now.